Welcome back to today's anatomy question. I'm Lizzie Lassiter here with the great Mary Richards. Hi, Mary.
I would say,
All right, today we're talking about yoga therapy. You are a certified yoga therapist, but ironically, you don't like the term yoga therapy. That's what we're going to talk about today. And we're developing a yoga therapy course with Mama Judith Hanson Lassiter, but we are calling it Yoga Therapeutics. It's a companion course to our beloved experiential anatomy course, which some of you know. The link is below to get on the wait list for this Yoga Therapeutics course. And I'm sending through that. What you're going to do is sign up for a newsletter list, and I'm sending through that newsletter from now until the course opens in the fall of 2025. A bunch of goodies and freebies and early bird pricing and all the stuff. So, Mary, yoga therapy, what don't you like about that? Why do you not use that term?
what is it? I mean, I have a master's of science in yoga therapy, and I don't know what the difference is with yoga.
You mean what the difference is between yoga and yoga therapy?
Yeah, I've been a yoga practitioner for 33 years now. And I have serious nerd problems. I'm a super nerd, you know. I was on a DPT track.
What's that?
When I was in looking at grad school programs, I was split between a doctor of physical therapy and yoga therapy. And ultimately, I went yoga therapy because I'm a yoga practitioner through and through.
Right.
And, it was the whole thing. So, anyway, I went into the Masters of Science already having taken all the prereqs for a physical therapy doctorate. And so I had the clinical kinesiology. I had a bunch of training that other people don't typically have in yoga circles. And the entire time I was in the program, I was like, I don't understand the differentiation. To me, it just seems like an intellectual construct. How do you take an eightfold system, an eight limb system of spiritual liberation and distill it into something called yoga therapy? Because
Mhm.
what is it that's different? You're not using different techniques and strategies. It's all yoga.
Yeah, so that's my question. Like, I guess my naive understanding is that a yoga class is for healthy people who want to move their bodies, and yoga therapy, working one-on-one with a yoga therapist or a yoga therapy class, would be for those of us who are sick and we need the therapy to help us, or for chronic conditions, or who is the target audience for yoga therapy?
Boom, because let's face it, what is healthy? Okay, so there's that as well. What is healthy? And I guarantee, I've been a teacher for so long, 2.5 decades I've been a teacher. And I assure you, people come into class with stuff. If you're embodied, you have stuff. And it's my responsibility as the person at the front of the class to offer information so that folks can work with their stuff. Why should they have to go to a different class for that? Now, some situations are such that they do require a smaller group, more specialized attention, etc. Huge fan of having a class for, say, low back pain. You want to get together a group, everyone in the class has something going on. They're aware of their low back more than they prefer to be.
Right,
Okay. But that's still a yoga class.
right.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, how does adding the term therapy change it from yoga?
Okay, these are provocative questions, Mary. So, what are you and mom teaching in our yoga therapeutics course?
Yoga? We're teaching, I believe, how to individualize the practice.
Mhm.
That's the therapeutic aspect. And if we think about yoga traditionally back in the day, before BKS Iyengar, before Krishnamacharya, who started doing classes, for Brahmin boys for the Maharaja or whatever it was. So Krishnamacharya trained in a cave with a guru, right? Like back in the day, the student teacher relationship was one on one. That was the traditional model. You sought the teacher, you know? And so the group class is a really modern convention and it's changing and it's become the norm. And it's easy to lose the trees in the forest, right? And I believe that this more modern movement to thinking of yoga therapy is actually an attempt to claw back some of the intimacy of the individual relationship. That's what I believe. And
Okay, that makes so much sense. I have just jumped up to get your book, Teach People, Not Poses, which sounds like, sort of the thesis of what you're saying is that we should be teaching and practicing in a way that respects our individuality and the individuality of our students.
yes, yes, exactly. Because everybody's unique, just like everyone else. And I believe it is our responsibility for those of us that have the audacity and the calling, because I believe that teaching yoga is a calling, to stand in front of the class and invite people onto the mat. It is our responsibility to develop the knowledge and skills to help people individualize the practice so that we are teaching people, not poses.
Yeah, and from a very practical perspective, when I teach, it makes me nervous when somebody says in front of everybody, like, my knee hurts in Warrior Two. What should I do? And then what I learned from you and mom gives me skills to apply in that moment to look at their body and think how I could help them. That's like the benefit for me is like feeling as though I'm maturing as a teacher when I learn these therapeutic applications of asana to say, oh, okay, like think about lengthening your inner thigh and moving your front knee not over the middle toe, but more over the your third toe and over, like things where that I've learned from studying with you and mom. I remember when we were brainstorming the title of this new yoga therapy, experiential anatomy, yoga therapeutics course. Mom seriously was like, I want to call it the therapeutic applications of asana, pranayama, and meditation. I was like, okay, that title I can't do anything with. I don't think it's gonna fit on like an Instagram reel. I don't know what like therapeutic applications of. I appreciate your integrity. So, in conclusion, Mary, what do you want to tell people? What do you feel deeply that yoga teachers should understand about the concept of yoga therapy? I've stumped her.
It's just a word,
Mhm.
okay? Yoga therapy it's a term, right? Give it as much power as you'd like, but please emphasize yoga.
Mhm. Yeah. And you're basically saying it's all already there inside
It's
of yoga.
already there. Exactly. Let's take your example of someone in class saying, "Oh, my knee hurts when I do this." What are you going to say? "Oh, well, you got to go see a yoga therapist." Now,
Mhm.
you may, after class, talk to the person and say, "Have you had your knee checked by your doctor or a physical therapist or whatever?" And they may say yes or no. And you follow on to the conversation like that. But if the key is that we are engaging with our asana practice in a way that helps us learn more about ourselves, that is the therapy.
That is the goal.
Yes. And that is the yoga.
So good, Mary Richards. Thank you so much. Tell us where we can find you on the internet.
Well, should I? You can find me at yogawithmaryrichards.com on social media, YouTube, all that stuff. Yoga with Mary Richards.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.